come across a TV show. It was on TV for one season. All American Muslim. It aired out of Dearborn, Michigan. They followed like 6 or 7 Muslim families. So I'm watching it. I flip on this channel. I'm like, hold up. Look at these Muslims here. Why ain't they killing everybody? Where's the guns at? And I just knew that they was going to take me to a mosque and show me the, you know, the weapons hold in the basement. This was what my mind told me, you know. So I was like, well, I got to see it now. So I watched the first episode, nothing. Second episode, I'm like, well, that one's a cop. Well, that one's coaching football. Well, these Muslims are people? That's crazy talk. You know, it just threw me off, man. It really threw me off. And I realized right then I got lied to about Muslims like I got lied to about Santa Claus. And I had been bamboozled and hoodwinked my whole life.
Right.
So after that, I started studying that whole night, man. That whole night. I put my liquor down and I just started on the Google. You know, Sheikh Google. Didn't know no Muslims. I said, I'm just going to get on Sheikh Google and I'm just going to check it out. So I'm binge watching the show while I'm researching too. Like, oh, okay, Muslims believe in this too. I see. They got the same prophets as me. That's what I grew up with. Well, that's pretty comfortable. But they don't worship none of them. Well, that makes sense to me because, you know, they were people. They went to the bathroom. I'm not going to worship somebody that used the bathroom. Sorry, that's just like me. So that made sense. They got a really pure way of life. Submission to Allah. Submission, that's it. Like that's basically it in a nutshell. Belief and submission. At the time, you know, that was my limited understanding. And I spent that whole night and I finally fell asleep early in the morning, 5, 6 in the morning, I guess. And when I woke up, I said, that's it. I'm gonna be a Muslim. And I told everybody, I'm gonna be a Muslim. And they're like, well, I'm not. So don't come at me with that, you crazy person. You know how people are. They're like, that's good for you, brother, but we can't hang out no more.
Right.
You know, so I immediately quit drinking. I told Allah, I didn't know how to pray to Allah. I didn't know how to make dua. So I got on the Google and I started doing the Shahada. You know, I'm on there doing the whole thing, you know, Ashhadu, you know, trying to sound it out, brother, how we do when we ain't got nobody. So I sound out the Shahada and I'm like, well, that's it. I'm a Muslim. I feel different. I feel better. Alhamdulillah. You know, not alhamdulillah at the time. I was like, you know, thank you, Allah. And I said, Allah, I got this alcohol problem, which was scary for me because my dad, I'm like, you know, generational alcoholic. My family bloodline, we hail from Viking territory where that's just what we did, you know. So I'm like, you know, Allah, I'm either going to die from a seizure or I'm going to have to wean myself off. But my conviction was so strong with it, man. I didn't want to keep drinking. I was a serious alcoholic, serious. Like I would get up and drink and work and stay drinking at work and, you know, stay drinking after work. That was my life, you know, pass out, wake up, drink again. And I said, that's it. I'm just going to quit. It was a big fear for me, but I immediately quit. And alhamdulillah, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed me with that. And then after Islam, it was like a light bulb went off and I was like, oh, that's crazy. Like, you've been living ridiculous.
Right.
The moment that I realized Islam was the truth, that's whenever I saw the reality of what I've been lied to. The media at the time had painted over what Islam really was. And then that allowed my heart to open up to the message of there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. And I didn't have any problem with accepting that either because I started reading that night, you know, and I was like, oh, this Muhammad guy, he was pretty legit. You know, he was a soldier. He was a husband.
Right. He
was a father. Like, he did all these cool things. And, you know, that resonated with me, but he had such discipline. But at the same time, he still had control, self-control, man. He didn't, you know, flex that power. The man slept on date palm leaves as a mat. He went days and days without food. You know, like, there's so many sacrifices that he made, and he was even at the height of power, of Islamic power. And that said something to me. A true ruler should be judged how they treat their people whenever they're in times like that, you know, and how they treat themselves. If I'm rolling in a Rolls Royce and my people are struggling, what's that say about me? You know, but he was sacrificing what he had So that was it. The character of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Where I'm at, where I'm from, there's no Muslims there. So I'm thinking, well, now I'm plotting, right? I spent my whole life plotting for bad. Now I'm like plotting. How do I get to the masjid? Where do I find one of these mosques? So turns out there's one an hour and a half from my house. But I'm like, I had no license because I had 2 DUIs, 3 driving on revoked. So I was a reckless idiot. So I'm like, well, how am I going to get there? That's an hour and a half away. Nobody I know is going to take me to the masjid. They're no. They'll take me to the liquor store, but they're not going to take me to get, to receive salvation. It's like, no, brother, well, you want to go get some liquor? We'll go up there. But so I'm like, how am I going to get there, brother? So I'm like, okay, Allah, what we going to do? So there happens to be a little convenience store down from my house, about 3 miles. And I go down there, I walk down there every once in a while, get my dip, my cigarettes. That's one thing I didn't quit immediately. May Allah forgive me, So I'm going down there, and the store just got bought. I don't know if these guys are Indian, they're Arab, I don't know what they are, right? No beards, polo shirts, calls his name Brian. Like, what's your name? He's like, Brian. I'm like, brother, your name is not Brian. Stop that. You've been there. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Say you don't know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. Brian. And his brother's working with him, too. And his name is like Alan or something. I'm like, Brian and Alan. Where y'all from, Brian and Alan? And they're from like Mumbai or someplace. I'm like, brother, stop it. Right. So I go down there and I'm like, okay, here's the thing. They've only had this store for literally a couple of weeks. I'm like, I'm going to ask these brothers. They're either Muslim or they're Hindu. One of the two. I thought Hindu for sure because they were clean shaven. So I was like, they got to be Hindu. And there was incense everywhere. So I was like, they got to be Hindu. I go in there, I'm like, listen, what religion are you, Brian? And he's like, Muslim. I was like, me too, brother. Me too. I'm Muslim. I'm Muslim. Yeah. And he's like, shh. Because the store that they bought is in a very bad area. So he's like, shh, quiet, brother, brother, calm down, And I'm like, I try to give him the greeting the best way that I can, And I explained to him my situation. And he's like, we're going to Knoxville in a couple of days on Friday for Juma. And I was like, what's that? That sounds great. I want to go to that. Right. And he's like, well, it's just our service. It's like our church day. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. So can I go? And he's like, yeah, meet me down here and I'll take you. So I meet him down there and he takes me to the masjid. I go into the masjid. This brother, Cherno, his name is Cherno. He's from Africa. Okay. It's very hard for me to understand, Speaks good English, but the accent, he's from Senegal. And the accent is so thick, right? So this is my brother. I'm like, brother, can and he's like, oh, yes, no problem. Nope. He leads me through my Shahada. So immediately I'm on mission number 2. I do the Shahada, I attend Juma. I'm like, this is it. It's amazing. I loved it. Of course, nobody talks to you because you're the new white guy with tattoos. All right. Mission number 2. I got to figure out how to move to Knoxville. I got to figure, I've got to, what do they call it? Hijra. I've got to make Hijra, and that's what I did. So I started plotting and planning, and I called Cherno the next, 2 days later. I said, brother, listen, I want to move down there. He's like, no problem. Give me a couple of days. He calls me back. He found an empty apartment. Got the brother got the first month rent covered and the deposit. Had 7 brothers at my house with a U-Haul. The next day, my yard was full of Muslims. Like all you see is Arab and black dudes all over my yard. And the neighbors I know are losing their mind because there's a 28-foot U-Haul parked in the front yard and boxes are coming out. And these brothers are not just loading, they're packing. I got brothers in there folding my clothes. I'm like, subhanallah, this is the A-team. Real talk, he sent the A-team down there. They had me move that day.
MashaAllah.
The apartment was about 3 blocks, maybe 4 blocks from the masjid. And I became obsessed.